friends, we are going to learn about some fermented Oriental products today. We will first see what we mean by the term fermented foods. Then we will understand what is Orient or Oriental, and finally venture into the topic as such. Fermented foods have been documented from long, and in Europe lots are common like cheese, yogurt, the typical fermented dairy products. We also know of fermented sausages, and then there are pickles and so many to name. Bread is so commonly consumed. But the Orient were not behind and had taken a long step in developing many different fermented products in the Oriental region. What is this Orient? Now basically, Orient is a huge part of Asia which covers places like Japan, China, Korea, Hong Kong and Taiwan. It generally means the East. Buddhism had a huge role to play in the production of these fermented products. Buddhism had been introduced into China and Korea by the 4th century, while it was introduced into Japan between 500 and 600 AD. Buddhist people avoid meat, and as such plant products were the main food for them, and fermentation played a huge role in actually preserving these plant products for a longer time. People in the Orient did not know much about the process of fermenting or organisms which did this, but they knew the art of preserving these plant products for consuming them later by the method of fermentation. Soybean or products produced from soybean were known to be introduced by the Buddhist monks in their monasteries. What are these fermented products that we are going to learn? We have a list of many. To begin with, we will be discussing about soy sauce today, and the following like miso, tempeh, natto, sufu will follow later. Soy sauce is our topic for huge discussion today. Who doesn't know about soy sauce? All of us who enjoy the Oriental foods are all aware of the term soy sauce. It is a thick, dark colored liquid, almost brownish to darkish color, and has a pungent smell, or at times pleasant meat-like flavor are obtained from the incorporation of soy sauce. It is a fermented product made from paste of boiled soybeans, roasted grains, brine, and obviously the organism Aspergillus oryzae, or at times Aspergillus sojae. These are molds. Once the fermentation is over, the paste is pressed to produce the soy sauce, which is liquid, while the byproduct, which is somewhat semi-solid, is used as a feed. This also has a history. The production of soy sauce gets its origin from the region of China. In China, they used to call the preserving material or condiments as jiang. And jiang could be of meat variety or jiang could be of seafoods, but most importantly and major, jiang was by grain, meaning preservation of the grains by fermentation. This was done during the 3rd and the 5th century when the soybean product, the soy sauce that we are going to discuss today, gets its origin. It was Isaac Titsing who actually published accounts of brewing soy sauce, meaning the production of soy sauce had been published in detail by Isaac Titsing in the 18th century. Later, we also find documentation of this soy sauce production in China given by Samuel Wells Williams. There are many more to list. From China, after it went to Japan, the Japanese took it over and had their own process of producing the soy sauce, but the European later shifted to the Chinese variety of soy sauce production for their own benefits. This is a brief pictorial representation of how soy sauce can be produced. That means now we are going to understand the soy sauce production steps in more detail. If you can look into the diagram, you can see that this is the soybeans which are mixed with the wheat. Both are present in the production of traditional Japanese soy sauce. The soybeans are soaked and cooked, and wheat is roasted separately and then crushed. Together they are mixed, After the mixing, you have to mix the Aspergillus oryzae mold culture, which will give rise to the term koji. We will be understanding what exactly koji is in more detail. Now salt is added to it and the whole thing is brewed or fermented and the state is called as moromi. Finally, it is aged and the bottle products are produced. We have seen a brief overview. We are looking into more detailed account of the soy sauce fermentation. To begin with, what ingredients are required? You need soybeans, wheat, salt, water and the koji mold. The soybeans principally are harvested and stored for a longer time and can be used during need. This provides the food for the organisms, the molds Aspergillus oryzae or Aspergillus sojae, so that they can convert the material into usable products for us. Initially, first the soybeans are soaked in water. Then there is a cooking stage. Now this is very important. A lot of experiments and researches have been done to show what length of time is required for cooking the soybeans so that the best results are obtained. And it is suggested that they can be cooked for approximately 6 hours or so that the best results is obtained. Steaming is a very important task which reduces the time. On the other hand, we also use roasted crushed wheat. Wheat is roasted and then crushed. This too is mixed to the boiled soybeans which you have earlier seen. Then on the other hand, we are preparing the koji. Now koji is a term of Japanese origin and we can understand koji as being a mixture of the wheat, the soybean and the mold. Now this is the making of the koji, that is the wheat and the soybeans after being cooked and ground are being mixed with the Aspergillus spores. And this is how the mold would look. It is shown in a petri dish. We have the yellow koji mold which is of Aspergillus oryzae and we have the white mutant variety which does not have this yellowish coloration. Coloration is important because this will impart the actual coloration to the soy sauce once it is produced. In the koji culturing process, as we have seen in the earlier slide, it is done by hand. Traditional processes use hand mixing, while in the industries there are machines to do the work. You can see here the machine called as koji moro, and the name is given by the specific industries. It can have other names, but the machine actually involved in giving a particular incubation temperature for the mold growth. Now let us see what different organisms or molds are used and what is koji mold. 3 species of Aspergillus are involved. The first one, as you can see here, Aspergillus oryzae, looks somewhat like this, and if we can draw a diagram, they would resemble conidiophore and conidia just like this. The spores are very important, which are inoculated into the mixture of soybean and wheat to give rise to koji. The second in the koji mold is a species called as Aspergillus sojae, and we have given here the picture of the spores. The third one is Aspergillus tamari. These tamari are again similar, but the spores are slightly different. They are not exactly smooth, but they are wrinkled, as you can see here, and they are meant for the preparation of tamari, a different variety of Japanese soy sauce. The koji culture also includes Saccharomyces cerevisiae or yeast, Lactobacillus species and Bacillus among the bacteria. Now altogether we have fungi in the genus Aspergillus, we have the yeast Saccharomyces and Bacillus and Lactobacillus in the bacterial genera involved to give a complete koji. The Saccharomyces produces ethanol from the sweetness sugars present in the mixture. Bacillus, that is Lactobacillus, generates lactic acid to generate some amount of acidity. Now once the whole thing is mixed, the contents are put into shallow containers and the product is brined, that is salt solution is added to it, and the result is known as moromi. You can see here a tank filled with moromi. It's kept for aging, and another such figure which shows the difference in the fermentation stages. It can be kept for a longer time and it can take approximately 6 months for the production to occur. In between intervals, it should be shaken or stirred. Mechanically can be done, but even by hand it can be shaken or stirred so that oxygenation is there and the even distribution of heat and oxygen takes place. You can see here a diagram at times wherein the moromi is housed in bamboo casks. The dripping of the soy sauce is shown over here. After that state, it goes for the pressing, because once the koji starts firmly gaining into its shape by the formation of fungal mat, the formation of final koji and resultant soy sauce will be a compact thing and will be kind of semi-solid. Now this needs to be pressed to take out the soy sauce. This is a traditional press which is manually done, very difficult, and at recent times we have seen some presses which are mechanically done. Once it is pressed and the soy sauce is taken out, it should be pasteurized. This is a very important step. It is again heating to a desired temperature kept for a certain time so that the organisms which were involved gets killed. After the pasteurization step, we are moving into the aging and the bottling section. Soy sauce is aged for at least 6 months in traditional processes. During fermentation and aging, lot of changes takes place which is brought about by the koji mold as well as the other organisms present along with it. During fermentation, the soybean mixture with wheat releases starches and proteins into the solution, which is acted upon by the mold to release amino acids free and hydrolyzed products of proteins. As well as there are sugars which are produced from the starch. These are being utilized by the bacilluses, lactobacilluses and yeasts. Lactobacilluses generally produce the lactic acid which gives the acidity to the produced soy sauce. Yeasts generate ethanol and that note can also be present in most soy sauce production. Now these gives the final flavor to the prepared soy sauce. How does the color come, the dark rich color of soy sauce? Now that is purely a chemical reaction called as browning brought about during the reaction of the amino acids and the glycosidic bonds present in the sugars. We have seen a whole lot of process of how soy sauce can be produced. Now we are looking into several types of soy sauce which is consumed over the Oriental regions. Region-wise, it can be categorized as being Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, Hawaiian and so many. But there are basic two categories. The first being a brewed variety and the second one a non-brewed variety. The term brewing essentially encompasses the incorporation of microbes during the fermentation stage. This is a picture of a Chinese brewed soy sauce wherein brewing or fermentation has been taken place. This is a non-brewed soy sauce which we can commonly call as a synthetic variety, meaning microbes have not been utilized during the production of this type of soy sauce. It's known as liquid aminos and is a very good substitute of the soy sauce traditionally prepared. The difference here is that instead of microorganisms, certain chemical or other kinds of enzymes like chemical hydrolysis methods are employed to release the products from the soybean and microbes are no way present. Now this can at times be a better substitute because preservation of these products are even enhanced. Then moving into the other Chinese varieties, the first is a light soy sauce called as brewed light soy sauce. This essentially is light because it is first the fermentation process is carried out and then the first kind of products which is obtained is lighter and that is why the name goes by the name light. In the darker variety which is often called as simply dark soy sauce, the color is dark and the consistency is also thick. This is most often used for cooking like red cooked pork. The red cooking terminology is often used which results in a red coloration of the Oriental food products. Then we have blended soy sauce, which is slightly different. It is first brewed and then certain other ingredients are blended, like caramel can be used to give it coloration. Here you can see two such products. One is a red tone while the other one is a low hue tone. So coloration can be changed by addition of certain substances. For darkening we can use caramel or molasses, which gives rise to what we know as blended soy sauce. This is also of Chinese origin. Next, we are seeing the most important Japanese variety soy sauce called as tamari. There are various other such Japanese soy sauces by several other names, but tamari is very common and mostly used. This uses the organism Aspergillus tamari, which has already been mentioned, and it is slightly darker in color. Most often is very commonly consumed with several Japanese common traditional rice items. Now in Indonesia, they use a sweeter variety of soy sauce called as the kicap manis. We are all aware of the ketchup term in our country, and this kicap is a very common dialogue used by several other Asian countries as well. In Indonesia, this kind of sauce is very often used for their traditional dish called as nasi goreng, which is nothing but a special fried rice which is mixed with sausages, egg, prawn crackers and even pickles. Then we have other soy sauces, like several other varieties. Here we have a traditional Korean variety, another Korean variety here, and several other places enjoy the soy sauce as consumed world over for condiment use, preservation, preparation of food, during or after preparation. All these are constituted and we have enough dishes to be consumed which has incorporated soy sauce in it, whether before or after. But you can enjoy all these. But do we know that there are certain drawbacks or disadvantages as well as benefits of consuming soy sauce? Let us first discuss about the benefits. Firstly, soy sauce, because of its antioxidants present, has a huge role in lowering certain diseases. It also has good taste and aroma as well as several salty incorporation is often required when soy sauces are used. Now, what are the disadvantages? Mainly, there have been developed 2-3 compounds during processing which are carcinogenic, meaning cancer causing. So, too much of soy sauce consumption is also not very good, and mostly we see that the non-brewed variety or the liquid aminos where chemical hydrolysis takes place is resulting in lot of production of these carcinogenic compounds in soy sauce. So, synthetic ones should be avoided and fermented products or brewed products should always be given first-hand opportunity for consumption. Now, all this we see that soy sauce production has given us an idea how traditional processes are still into being while newer technologies have been developed to get these products faster, quicker and in a better homogeneous product development. But we still depend on the traditional processes because they generate more of flavor, aroma and what we know as the organoleptic properties, means it gives our 6 senses all the pleasure. So enjoy all the Oriental fermented foods along with the typical Oriental recipes that are present.